Good morning. We live in a country that, since its founders established peace as the guiding principle, despite all the wars that we have fought. This is not to denigrate our armed forces, they are great. The performance of the Canadian armed forces in the world wars, especially in Wimerich, resonates with all the people all over the world. But that was a war that had global dimensions, and we fought. And after that, slowly and steadily, the governments started reducing the armed forces. The governments started putting more and more emphasis on peace. And protected as we are by the Arctic and by NORAD, courtesy USA, we thought we don't need military. Not a bad thing. Nevertheless, over the last few years, as a matter of fact, couple of years, since 2014, we have seen that we are traveling back in time. That the policies of Diefenbaker, whom I remember as a great Prime Minister and a great word statesman, those policies are being bidden goodbye. It appears that now we are actively engaged in the business of war. Are you shocked? Maybe you are, but you should not be. Look at the facts. We were involved in Afghanistan and we lost our army personnel over there. We were not involved in Iraq initially, but in the so-called fight promoted by President Obama against ISIS, we have been involved in Syria, we have been involved in Libya, we have been involved in Iraq. We have been involved in Kurds. We have been supporting Peshmerga. And indirectly we have been involved in Yemen, when we failed to condemn Saudi Arabia for its wanton, unacceptable attack on Yemen. So what are we doing? Our Foreign Minister Stephen Dion had not a word to say condemning Saudi Arabia. Rather, we sold $15 billion worth of arms to Saudis. And now we are going in another minefield, that is Africa, Mali. The Prime Minister at least had the courtesy to admit that though it's a peacekeeping mission, we are likely to be embroiled in shooting wars. And the biggest issue is going to be the child soldiers. If the child soldiers are shooting at you, what do? Do you shoot them back? If you shoot them back, all the people are going to condemn you. And if you don't shoot them back, we bring our soldiers back in body bags. There's no option. It's not a catch-22 situation. It's a suicidal mission. Is this peacekeeping? I wonder. Harjit Sajjan, the Defense Minister, and the Prime Minister have not tried to visualize the effect it would have. Peacekeeping and shooting wars are contradiction in terms. As a matter of fact, sometimes I feel that we are in real business. You know why we did not condemn Saudi Arabia? Because of the economic reasons. We have a factory which is manufacturing arms only for the purpose of selling them to Saudi Arabia. Well, business is business and politics is politics. Let the business continue, I don't object to that. But at least the politicians should not support business which is anti-human. The next step might be that the government might start producing cocaine and selling it, because that's also business. Are we bidding goodbye to all the ethical values? I shudder to think how people like Diefenbaker would be reacting to the new developments. And then you ask me whether we are fighting a war or not. Look at some of the statistics. From October 2014 to this year, we have already lost 592 fighting recce missions. We had 427 flights, and they are in all the 4 countries. Officially, we don't condemn them. And then we sold arms to Peshmerga, to Kurds. We wanted a diplomatic assurance from them that they will use it again only against ISIS. Now we are aware, we in India, from India rather, that the value of these promises is practically nil. US provided arms to Pakistan, saying that they will be used only for use against Taliban. Those arms were given to Taliban, partly, and partly used against India. So either the terrorists were using it, or the Pakistan army was using it against India. The same arms were used to kill millions of Bengalis in Bangladesh, at that time East Pakistan. The same arms and ammunition was used to kill Balochis, Pashtuns, Swathians, and whosoever is an objection. What is a guarantee that Peshmerga and the Kurds are not going to use them against Turkey or against those people whom they don't like, whether they are ISIS or not ISIS? Turkey is having a war against Kurds. Iraq is having a war against Kurds. What prohibits them from using them against them? And what prohibits them then going to join the ISIS? After all, they are also motivated by the same faith. And the friend of today can be your enemy of tomorrow. Providing training is one thing. Providing arms is an absolutely other. And then, since 2005, we have been actually fighting. We say that we are giving training support. We say that we are giving recce support. We say that we are giving logistics support. But do you know that our armies at one time fought for 15 hours continuously in Mosul? Continuously. Normally, you fight for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and then you replace. But here, since our soldiers were so less in number, they said no. Other contingents from other countries like USA, they were changing there. But our soldiers were continually fighting for 15 hours. So are we in business of war? Yes, we are. The arms export from USA are higher than the arms export from Canada. But USA is a much bigger producer, and USA admits its desire to have hegemony on the other countries. We don't. But our arms exports are quite exhaustive. Not only are we exporting arms, we are also exporting armed carriers, armed cars, vehicles, which are used for arms. Now, sometimes I wonder that the same country which provides humanitarian support like DART also supplies the killing apparatus to those people who don't deserve it. The business of war, it's a business, is essentially against the basic tenets of the Canadian philosophy. The Canadian values, as we already say, are care, compassion. Let's say the 3 C's. Canada is full of care and compassion. When you are waging war, supporting war, promoting war, it's neither care nor compassion. It's cupidity, greed, avarice. Whom are we deluding? Ourselves. Should we have, or should we be involved in this war business? Well, the opinions can differ. I have nothing against business, as I said, commercial. But 2 aspects have to be considered. First is the ethical aspect. Either you are honest or you are not honest. If you are honest, say that if you want to be in business, say that, okay, our commercial interests are supreme, we shall abide by them. As Roosevelt very clearly said, I am providing arms to Hitler because that's commercially useful for me. But I, as an enemy, will ensure that those arms do not reach Germany. So what he did was, he sold shiploads of arms to Germany, got the money, and when the ships were midway in the international waters, the American submarines sunk them. But at least he was honest enough to say that. On the face we say, we care for you. And then we care for them by providing arms to people and the regimes like that of Saudi Arabia. We say that we go there for peacekeeping purposes. And we are faced with the situation to either kill children or to be killed by children. I know it's a difficult choice, but then it's a choice of our own making. Why should we have gone there at all? Who gave us the divine right to interfere where our advice, our services, our help is not needed? Way back, we sent our army in Africa. And you know the scandal that is breaking out now. The the anti-malarial drug that we gave caused more harm than the shooting wars. And I pity Peter Kent when he had to find ways to hide his face because of the carping criticism that was levied against the government, and very justifiably. There's nothing wrong with that. So you've got to decide whether you want to be in war business or not. There are countries which are clearly in war business. China is there. India is there. Israel is there. But then they say they are in business. Secondly, do you want to be actively involved in war? There are 2 aspects. One is providing the hardware. You sell it. Okay, you get your money and you rest at home. The second is you sell your people as well. When you send your soldiers to fight, whatever the reason may be, are you not turning your army into a mercenary army? Here the only difference is that the money is being paid to you, to the government, not to the soldiers. Now you might say that how is the money being paid because nobody is paying it? Indirectly, yes, because you are working under the thumb of United States and NATO. NATO might have been useful at one time. So was CETO at one time. CETO was converted to CENTO, but now it's dead. The day Warsaw Pact was demolished, NATO lost its relevance and it has remained as an anachronism on the body politic of the world, responsible for creating chaos, whether it was Afghanistan, whether it was Iraq, whether it was Libya, whether it was Syria, whether it was Sudan, or wherever. This military monolith is not the need of the day. And Canada has no business being there. It neither has a might, nor is it directly or indirectly involved in that. The business of war, let it be, if you want it to be there, be merely commercial transaction. Well, it provides employment to the thousands of people, so okay, let it be there. It provides you with foreign money, let it be there. It increases your GDP and fuels your economic growth, so let it be there. But your participation is definitely not welcome. In those countries, you are alienating those people. And when you alienate those people, they have some relations, some friends in this country. You are alienating them as well. And all the crocodile tears and face-saving devices like welcoming 30,000 refugees is not going to whitewash the reality. You know, in Macbeth, Lady Macbeth says after murdering her husband, all the waters of Arabia shall not wash the stain of blood. Out, damned spot. Canada is likely to face the same situation, where it would like to atone for its sins of omission and commission by engaging in this business of war. But the result would be just repentance, useless, futile thinking, atonement, but no redemption. The sins that the government is committing do not have a single redeeming feature, and all the atonement shall not redeem, and there will be no grace for these sins. These are the sins against humanity. These sins are antithesis to the concept of live and let live. These sins are epitome of hypocrisy, aggrandizement, and self-inflated ego exhibition. It is time we call things by their proper name. It's time we revert back to the old Canadian values of peace, care, and compassion. It's time we realize that we have a right to our own opinion, as have others a right to their own opinion, and not our system is the only system. Let's compromise with that. I'm not saying sacrifice yourself, but you need not interfere in others as well. Be a fighting force, I always say that, but fight to protect yourself, not to interfere in the affairs of others. This is a time to take accounts, build a balance sheet, and come to a decision that we are in the business of war, but our business shall be purely business. We shall not include our most important hardware, that's the mankind.